dock workers. There's one Swedish dock worker study. Are you from Sweden?
Yeah.
So here's the 1993 Swedish dock worker study on diesel exhaust exposure and smoking. And I actually wrote to this professor in Sweden to ask him whether anybody else has looked at that connection. What they did is they studied dock workers who had lung cancer. And then in the type of study they did, they found other people who were sort of like those same dock workers. And so then they looked at who smoked and who didn't smoke, and who was exposed to diesel exhaust and who was not exposed to diesel exhaust. And they found that the workers who had increased exposure to diesel showed increased rates of cancer. So if you had higher exposure for diesel exhaust, you had higher rates of cancer. But then they also found that the workers who smoked and also were exposed to diesel exhaust had the highest rates of lung cancer. So that if you don't smoke and you're exposed to diesel, there's a higher rate of cancer. But if you are exposed to diesel and you smoke, the rate really jumps up. And in fact, they found that the risk was 28 times higher than the controls in people who smoked and were exposed to diesel exhaust. And so I think that's something for, as I said at an ILWU meeting recently, I don't usually show this conclusion in an industry organization, because they're going to say, it's not the diesel that's causing the cancer, it's the smoking that's causing the cancer. But what this is showing is that the diesel exhaust on its own is related to cancer. But if you smoke and are exposed to diesel, the risk is really high. And I think that's something that your unions might want to be thinking about.